You're looking at the president and the vice president of the fan club for Scott Larson. Hold on to your pencils with all your questions. You're about to watch the Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson. Don't miss a minute.
Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson. Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson. Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson.
HVW in the Showdown series. Don't miss it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. Tonight we have the one, the only, concluding referee week for this month, referee Hunter Hagee. I'm going to get it right, sir. I promise you.
Close enough. That's all that matters.
I've butchered that name all week, sir, and I apologize. I truly do apologize.
Hey, Ref Hunter works just fine.
Ref Hunter, there you go. It makes it a lot easier. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, it helps everybody.
So how you doing, man? Welcome to Hashtag Truth.
I'm doing wonderful tonight, brother. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. Absolute honor to be on here with you.
Man, I appreciate you saying all those kind words about my show, man. We're trying, man. So tell the audience, everybody who doesn't know you, that we've got a ton of people already coming in. Derek Davis said, Hunter, best ref in the biz.
Thank you, brother Derek. He's one of the best cameramen you'll ever meet. He does some absolutely phenomenal work over at WrestleRoni, both on his show and on his film work. Dude's an awesome
guy. Right? I want to get him on hashtag so bad. I would love to talk to him for an hour. Wouldn't it be exciting?
Yeah, you two would be a great match together.
That would be cool. So like I said, so tell everybody who doesn't know you, who's watching Hashtag Truth, how you got started, where you got started, how long you been in it. Just give us your bio, man.
So about a year ago, I went to a show in West Virginia.
Okay.
For a company, Premier Wrestling League Mid-Atlantic. They're really fun, smaller indie company, one of the better ones in the area. And they began to offer training classes through Benny Conley and Aaron West, who are two phenomenal workers in the state of West Virginia and any of the states around here. They're very dependable and very hard workers. And they opened the door for me. And from there, it happened so fast. About 6 weeks into my training, our head referee, Reggie Cassidy, who's one of the best referees in the Mid-Atlantic, went down with an injury at his day job, and they called me and they said, Hunter, you're new, you're still training. Would you be interested, though, in refereeing tonight? We could really use your help.
Right.
And very early on, I think it was my first training session, someone, Ron Mathis, told me to step up at every opportunity presented to me, and I did. So I went out and I reffed my first 4 matches that weekend. I've gone back and watched them. They're not the greatest, but nobody bats 1,000 their first try. And
right.
From there, I worked about another 2 or 3 shows before I made it to School of Morden. And when I made it to School of Morden, it was like my career took off. I've been all over the place since then. At that point, I was at about 15 matches, and that was last June. And now I'm at around 157 last time I checked, I think.
Wow. So you went up there to 505 Live. Were you recording with them on 505 Live?
Yes, I've done
Nice.
a lot of the tapings for 505 Live. I've worked with a lot of incredible talent up there. The Doolies, Draco, Jason Blythe, Tyler Foshi. Those guys
Please
are really talented.
please tell me that you worked a couple of matches with NAV and my boy I Am Righteous. Please tell me you at least worked one match.
I've seen their work, but I
Okay.
haven't been around them very much.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
it's just,
You funny you mentioned Premier Wrestling League because they said Hunter's a jerk.
oh, of course. They, of course. Hey, in the state of West Virginia, this ref sucks, and he knows it.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
Allie Wall said Hunter Hill.
yeah. That's
Oh, Hunter High. I'm
myself and
sorry. Why did I say Hill? That was dumb. Hunter High. There you go.
myself and Allie were the first two trainees at PWL. She is blossoming into a fantastic young wrestler.
Nice.
She is somebody that will be very, very talented one day.
Oh man, she's a wrestler. I might have to.
Yes,
There's
she is
another.
in training.
Keep
Yeah,
bringing
she's
all these wrestlers and that on here. I'll ask every one of them to come on the show, man. I love it. I love it. You're a magnet for this, it looks like.
Yeah.
You got Jeff James asking, has he put me over yet?
Jeff, he can't help but put Jeff over. That's the man who behind PWL. The oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. He opened a lot of doors for me and has done a lot of very amazing things. A lot of people have a lot to say about him, but I'll always look at him as a very, very important part of my career. He's somebody that holds a special place in my heart.
I know. The first place you go to when you do anything, and you know they take you in, they treat you like family. That's home, man. And it seems like that's what Premier Wrestling League is for you. Is that sounds like home.
Yeah, Jeff and Benny and Aaron West, those guys, I wouldn't trade them for anything. I also do work out of Boogie's Wrestling Camp in Shawsville. Their trainers, too, are amazing. Mike Mars and Koga Bellamy and, Roxy and Reverend Rasselgood. Those guys are also doing a lot to shape and help me with everything I've done.
Nice. Man, that's boy, you got people. Derek again said he's literally been talking 2 minutes. Hang in there, superstar. He said Jeff is a jerk, but he's a good jerk.
Yeah, that's a good description.
So how many years have you been refereeing?
I'm just now entering my sophomore year.
Okay.
I finished my first year last year with 123 matches. Worked for around a dozen companies ranging from Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, West Virginia. This year so far, we're coming into the final weeks of January, and I've worked 35 matches in 5 states.
Wow.
Been all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's thanks to guys like Jeff James that I'm able to go out and do some of this work and see all the places I am. I just rode with him up to Cleveland the other weekend. We worked Ohio, and I had an absolute blast up there.
And isn't it amazing that you hear now? Me personally, you probably watched a couple of the other 2 shows with the referees on it, and I said on both shows, and I'll say it again this time. Referees are probably the most important piece in the ring. Everybody wants to say the wrestlers, but without the referee, it's just mass chaos. They are important. So isn't it interesting that just like in football or baseball or any other sport, you got in by an injury. You were a backup, and you came in when somebody got injured, and now boom, Purdy for San Francisco. You're just blowing up.
Yep. It's been a very unique experience. I'm really grateful for. All these opportunities have been amazing. It's just, I don't know, it's a dream come true. I started out originally kind of similar to what you're doing. I wanted to do podcasts. I wanted to do I was more social media related because
Right.
a few years ago I got very sick. I spent 6 days in the hospital, 8 days on bed rest, and it took about 18 months to get back healthy. And
Okay.
while I was in the hospital, wrestling was one of the things that really, really kept me driving. And my favorite wrestler is Adam Page because he's from Aarons Creek, Virginia, a couple hours down the road. I watched him and Kenny against the Bucks while laying in the hospital bed, and I told myself, if I made it out, that if Adam can be this small town Virginia boy that makes it to the top level, I can at least make an attempt to get to some level. And
There you
here we
go.
are.
That's what I'm talking about, man. See that I love stories like that, man. Not that you got sick. I don't like that part of it because Lord knows I've been there. I don't like that at
Yes.
all. But it's amazing that and we hear stories like that all the time. We always say in the business that wrestling isn't a passion or anything. It's a lifestyle.
Yes,
You
it is.
actually, once you get into it, it will suck you in, and it's not going to let you go. Trust me. You can leave refereeing tomorrow, and I guarantee you'll be watching Raw and SmackDown and doing every. Wrestling will never leave you, or
Yeah.
going to shows and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes,
it's
sir.
great. It's great that it happened the way it did, and you're in there, and man, that's a lot of shows, bro. You are working hard, man.
Yeah, I'm just doing my best to make sure that myself and everyone around me flourishes and succeeds, brother. That's the end goal of all of this. My success is based on the success of those around me, and I just like to see us all flourish. And whatever
Right.
position they need me in, I'm always there.
Now you said your first 3 or 4 matches, you look back and you're like, oh gosh, a train wreck. What happened? What happened that made you think they were train wrecks?
My first one is just I've gone back and watched it recently because it got uploaded. It's just the lack of character, honestly, and I could see the nerves, and I could see that I didn't really know what I was doing out there completely. But I didn't do terrible. I've been at shows where I've seen guys work their first matches as a referee, and I've seen far worse than I did, and I've seen far better than I did. I'm I'm a stickler about my work, anyways.
Right.
The biggest moment of that night, we had the closest 3 count I've ever been a part of. It was 2.99. And I'll never forget, I set up and I gave the 2 call, and a good friend of mine was in the crowd, and he started a "this ref sucks" movement, and that's what my earliest memories of being a referee was everywhere I went. Either my friends or people who had been to these shows were, "This ref sucks," and I just embodied it. So I went out there and I was the suckiest ref I could be.
That's always the. I'll tell you what. I've got a ref that I have on. I've had him on like probably 20 times on my show. His name is Gene Perry. In
Yep.
our area, he's a really good referee, and let me tell you, I always tell him he's got the best blind eye in the business. And when people hear that, they think I'm saying something mean, but I'm being serious and honest that he does. I mean, he knows exactly when to turn his back. I mean,
Yep.
he's been doing it for so long. He's been doing it for like almost 20 years. But, you know, it's amazing how, like I said, you are the ring general. People don't understand that the referee is the ring general in the match because, the bad guy wants to cheat behind your back, and you got to be able to have your back turned to him because it's going to look kind of
Yep.
dumb when you're looking right at him and he's cheating and you do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn timing. It's not as easy as it looks. It's not just going in there and saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of nuances to knowing how to referee.
People are very surprised at how demanding can be at times. I know I was. I never had an appreciation for the referee until I became one. And as one, the most that I've tracked in a night, man, I walked 7.5 miles inside of a wrestling ring as a referee.
Wow.
Because a big thing, there's a because demand on it because, the workers, they do the harder on the body physical stuff.
Right.
we're out there sometimes 40 minutes to an hour a night, minimum, depending on the show. Like I've Ironman shows, been the only referee on a 2.5, 3 hour card. Only
Right.
time I left the ring would be for intermission, and to grab a drink of water real quick. And it can get very, there are a lot of nights in which I get out and I am beat, just absolutely exhausted, but it's always worth it. I love
Right.
every.
I mean, there's times when and people don't understand this. There's times when you might accidentally, and there are accidents where you might accidentally get too close to a wrestler when they're doing a route. You'll get bumped. And I'm not talking about the bumps where you're supposed to go down, and stay down or whatever. I'm talking about somebody gets up to do a move and you're not expecting it and you're in the wrong corner or something, and you become part of the move.
We've got this ring at Boogie's that's only about 11 foot. It is a small ring, and sometimes we'll get in there doing drills and it's just so tight that it's hard not to get accidentally kicked in the head or elbowed.
I mean, okay. I asked this of every referee because like I said before, every referee has their own style. Some do the baseball slide stomach first. Some do the baseball slide feet first. Some don't even. Some just get down on their knees. It looks like they're praying while they're slapping the ring. What is your style? Because if you're in there for, like you said, a marathon, if you're in there for 3.5 hours and you're baseball sliding like 4 or 5 times a match. That's, to me, that's bumping. You're flopping on your stomach. You know what I'm saying?
I've begun to incorporate the slide more. I was majority of the time dropping to my knees, and it was actually on the subject of the slide. I worked, I can't remember how many matches in one night down at school, more than one night. And the last time I dropped down on my knees, dude, I could feel it in my shoulders. It hurt so bad from how many times I'd gone up and down. So I finally got a set of knee pads. And when I got these knee pads, I come out for my first show with them on, and I go to drop down like normal. I slide halfway across the ring. Almost slide all the way out and had to recover, come back over and count.
Please tell me you've got that on video somewhere.
Somewhere there might be an old copy of it, because I wanted to say I was at school more than I can't remember who was in that one.
Because I can just see it. You going down and all of a sudden, whoa, okay, what, dude?
Well, I've got one. When we were in Cleveland, I was refereeing Nurse Micah against Ruthless Lala. Lala's an amazing worker, and so is Micah. And I did a big baseball slide for theirs and came halfway out the ring on the final pin.
I mean, there's sometimes, where they're close to the corner or whatever, you go do the slide, you don't realize how close they are. You're, sliding or adjusting yourself to get by the shoulders, because that's, what you need to do is get by the shoulders.
I was watching some old clips from like the mid to late 90s from Boogie's camp. I found some old like home movies, more or less.
Oh, wow.
And they had a referee there one night. And one day, and he completely got out of the ring at one point and was on the outside counting the pin.
Counting on the apron, right?
Yeah, they'd run him out the ring.
That's good. That's good, man. We got a lot of people talking. I'm sorry if I haven't gotten. When somebody comes on my show and they're a good talker and they tell stories like Ref Hunter here, I kind of forget about. I'm sorry. We're going to get to some of these real quick. Jonathan Darwin. I love Mr. Jonathan. Love his wife. Aaron West is a great hand.
Phenomenal worker.
Oh, Mr. Tim Cross said, "Hey, Hunter, he's a new rep for RSW. Awesome.
Yes, I just started working with them. RSW is an awesome company. Tim and them are some fun guys to work with."
Alexander Polk said, "What's up?" And he has a question. He said, "What type of matches do you like to referee?"
That's a hard one. I like some of the gimmick matches I've worked, because I've been a part of some really fun street fights. I just did a bull rope match the other weekend. But honestly, I really enjoy getting out there with like I refereed Jason Kincaid versus Vance Desmond the other week. And getting out there and being in the ring with two guys that can go like that is my favorite thing. Getting to the best seat in the house and watch these guys up close and try to be in control is the hardest thing, man. And I absolutely love it. You know, getting in there with guys like that and guys like Huff Manley, you know, and there's just so many these good talents that I just love to get in there and watch their work, dude. It's incredible.
If you made a comment, I will get to them. I promise. He's talking so well, I missed my first advertisement, so I'm going to go ahead and do it right now before I forget and I don't do any. Let me go ahead and hit this commercial spot real quick, and then as soon as we get out from the other side, we've got people talking and asking questions, and I got a ton of questions, man. You've opened up Pandora's box with stuff like that right there. So we'll be right back after this quick message.
This is 4 Foot Batman. And 4 Foot Batman knows the home of great collectibles at awesome prices. Retro toys and collectibles, movie memorabilia, Magic the Gathering cards, wrestling figures, Hot Wheels, the always popular Funko Pops, and much, much more. He knows the Hall of Collectibles is located in downtown Cherryville, North Carolina, at 400 East Main Street. Give them a call today, 980-989-5181. Retro Toys and Collectibles, the heavyweight champion in collecting.
Retro Toys and Collectibles, downtown Cherryville. Go in, say hi to Cotton. He's the owner, and tell him #True sent you. You might get a surprise. So we were talking before I did the commercial and everything, and you were talking about, you know, being able to ref some of these, you know, great wrestlers in the ring. How did it feel the first time you got in the ring with a couple of really good named wrestlers in your area, and that heel turned after you did something? You know, you were doing the right thing, but he turned and did the first, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And got in your face. How did that feel, man?
From the first night of refereeing to tonight, that has been Jeff Paul, Jeff James. He lays into me every single match we work together. And like I said, from the very first night, man, I had that moment where I wanted to shy away almost, but then I remembered I'm in charge, I'm in control in here, and we've been bickering ever since.
See, that's what makes it fun, because, you know, I've seen a few wrestlers and referee, like, you know, like I said, most of the time they're heel. Sometimes they're baby, but most of the times they're heel. And they'll come in, and I've seen one in particular. I won't name names, but this guy slid into the ring to do his match. He looked up and realized that the ref that usually refs his match wasn't there. He walks up to the other ref and goes, "Where's so-and-so?" And I was like, wow, you just put him over big time by doing that. A referee now, that's rare when they do that. But it's cool. It's really cool, because you guys deserve a lot more than just a week a month on #Truth. I'm going to be honest with you. You guys are the workhorses too, because, you know, like I said, just like the wrestlers, you guys train, you guys, you know, you have to learn the nuances of some of these wrestlers, and you don't have a lot of time to do it.
No, it's very, I don't know, it's very interesting, because I'm training to work. You know, the end result of all this is to wrestle, and it has opened up so much in terms of being able to watch the guys in the back and how they act, and then being able to go in the ring and see how they're handling themselves and the way they do different stuff. It's, you know, taught me so much. And it's why, you know, I tell my friends that are also training and involved in this, if you get the opportunity, take it, be a referee, even if it's only a handful of times. It'll show you things that you've never seen before, and won't have an understanding of until you're in that position.
Like you said, it's the best seat in the house. I mean, how many people? I mean, there's nobody else that is literally inches from two people locking up in the ring. You're literally like with your face in it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you're definitely going to learn a lot. Woo, thank you, everybody, for showing up. You are a very popular man, let me tell you. A lot of people showing up. Ashley Shelton said, "Count faster, ref."
Hey, I've told her a million times. She says that until her shoulders are on the mat. When her shoulders are down, she does not want that fast count.
Isn't it funny how it works that way?
Yep.
Or if you count the 1, 2, 3, they'll turn around and blame you for counting too fast.
Yep.
Right? James Oh, I'm gonna ruin this name. I'm sorry, James DeShazo.
I think that's close. I'm not certain myself either. That's what
He said that's the man right there. I hope it's DeShazo. It's looks pretty close. James, if you're still watching, man, let me know. Brino Royce. Yes, he said, gentlemen, much love. All right, Brino. Love Brino. Brandon Lefford's coming on. He said, does he know how to count? Everybody.
I get confused at what comes after 2 sometimes.
Yeah. Like I said it last night. I asked the question last night. I didn't realize, that referees have stories. And you said, your first 3 or 4 matches were kind of, did you ever, like, when you go to do the 5 count in the corner, did you ever accidentally, like, swing your hand and accidentally, like, pop a wrestler or something?
No, but I've had moments where, some guys want you to really get in there and other guys don't. And sometimes, we'll have those nights. I've been in there with guys who it's their 4th or 5th match, and you're in there, dude, and everybody's soaked, and you're trying to just you're sliding, and you're trying to get guys back. Nobody wants to move. It gets hard sometimes breaking these guys up. Some of these guys really be going at it, brother.
Have you ever had to do like the, where somebody's cheating, like stretching somebody out and they're grabbing the ring rope? Have you ever had to do I call it the football punt, where you kick their arm off the rope or something like that?
I was working with Yellow Man and Tyler Foshee. I've got that one on footage somewhere. Yellow Man and Tyler Foshee down in School Morton. And I came up to my knees and I caught Tyler holding onto the ropes above him. So I hopped up and I kicked the ropes out of his hands. He got up and got in my face and pushed me, and I pushed him back, and he sold right into Yellow. Yellow hit him with this big street sweeper, and we took her home. It was
nice.
A really fun
I love
match.
that. I love stuff like that, man. That makes my day to watch as a fan. To watch stuff like that, everybody interacting in the ring like that, and you get those in tag matches too and stuff like that. My favorite, I don't know, we asked you the question, what's your favorite, match to ref, but do you prefer singles or tag when it goes to reffing?
I prefer singles, but I enjoy tag matches because there's a lot more adrenaline and excitement I see at times. Like, it's very entertaining, especially like I work a lot of DD trash matches with Ron Mathis and Bruce Gray, and those guys bring an unreal energy to the ring. Those guys and the Doolies, a number of other teams I'm around, the Killbillies, those guys, it's just something so I think that just falls back to it really depends on the worker, because I'm in there with a lot of guys that are just so talented that I enjoy working with every week in, week out.
Have you have you ever been like in the, how many times you threw numbers out there? I think it was close to 200 matches you've ref now.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever, like, how many times did you take the big bump? I call it the big bump, where, it's part of the, like a tag team or something, that somebody makes a wrong move, ducks, you get super kicked or something, and you're out, and a new ref has to come out. How many times have you had to go through that?
Probably, I've got my notebook over here, but I don't think I have that taken into account for, because I write down virtually everything I do, and I've got every match I've worked wrote down. Probably around a dozen.
Okay.
I've been, after the match, hit with a chair. That was a really fun one. Took a chair right to the elbow. Couldn't feel my hand for the rest of the night. Spent the night laid up in the back. Just the other weekend, I got pulled into a big splash from Mike Mars, and that one about killed me. Benny Conley backhanded me during a match at the Beckley Mall. Knocked my glasses into the front row. Some lady caught him.
Wow.
And that was a week. See, Benny got me 2 weeks in a row. He backhanded me and knocked my glasses into the front row. And the week before that, he pulled me into a Ty Tyson spear. About killed me.
Oh my goodness. There's a Brandon wants you to come from West Virginia down to HWA where we
I
hang
would
out.
enjoy to one time. One time, I would for sure enjoy that.
Okay, Mr. Payne, because I'm not gonna try the first
That's
name.
Kwame.
Kwame. Okay, Kwame Payne
Kwame.
said, "My guy."
Yeah, that's him and James are some of the trainees from PWL.
Okay.
They are absolutely phenomenal guys who I cannot wait to see when they're ring ready, and they're going to be a force to reckon with, both of them.
Oh, see, again, I love this about a lot of companies and a lot of companies that have like their own training schools and things like that. And they have, they train wrestlers, they train referees, they bring other people in to, and the referees who have been trained by them stick around to help. That to me, man, that is somewhere where I would want to go if I was a fan, because it's just going to keep the evolving door. Because if you get injured or something, and I pray you never do, there's one that can step right in to take your place, and it's not going to take away from the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. It's a very, I'm in and out of a lot of locker rooms. Like I said, I've worked for over a dozen companies. I've seen a lot of places, and PWL, without a doubt, has one of probably the top 3 locker rooms I've been in. It is very, very loving, very, very family. Or like
they're there for each other. They're just to
we're
help
super
no matter
close
what.
with one another. We take care of each other, and it's a group of guys who all have come up together more or less in the last few years, and who are friends, and that really provides a good environment for both the workers and the fans, because that chemistry of these guys being friends and having worked with each other so much produces a better product, and that's what the fans want at the end of the day, is the best product we can give them.
There you go. I'm going to hit this really quick commercial. That way I can stay on track with my sponsors and that. But this is only a 25-second commercial, so we're going to be right back and rolling in just a second. But, man, if you guys have any questions for Ref Hunter or comments, please, I know we got a bunch of people watching, so please put them on there. And if you have any stories, or if you want to hear Hunter refresh his memory of a story, if you're a wrestler out there listening, I love to hear stories, man. So please, by all means, put it up there. But we'll be right back after this quick message from L&L Fence Company.
L&L Fence Company, specializing in custom fencing from wood and aluminum to chain link. 9331 Albemarle Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Give them a call today for your free estimate. 704-563-9544. L&L Fence Company, the king in custom fencing.
There you go, L&L Fence Company. I told you it was a quick one. Call them for your free estimate. They'll come out if you want any kind of fence, or if you already have a fence and it's in disarray and you need repair, call them. They'll come give you an estimate for free, no matter where you're at. They're in the Charlotte area. So I hate to ask this to any referee, because it's always a devastating, thing to do as a referee. It's probably the last thing you want to do as a referee. But how many times have you had to throw up the X?
I've been very fortunate so far that I haven't had to actually throw up an X and stop a match. But I have been a part of 2 matches as a referee, and one where I was working security, in which we did have some health scares. I was working a match in Tennessee not too long ago with 2 guys that, one of them I'm with almost probably every other weekend. I've worked quite a few of his matches. The other guy is another talented worker for East Tennessee, and a drop kick landed funny. The guy folded up on his leg. He told me, he's like, dude, I can't feel my leg. So I told him, I said, brother, if we need to go home, we can go home. If you need help, he said, dude, just buy me a second. We bought him a second. We finished the match. I carried him to the back, and he was fine. But we've had some close calls like that.
So he had a stinger of some kind where he couldn't feel his leg. Oh man,
couldn't put any weight on his leg hardly, and we managed to troop through the remainder of the match. It was still a quality match, but it did take away from it.
That's my kind of wrestler too. I'm just going to tell you right now, that's my kind of wrestler that, it just, gets through the match. Even if he would have looked up at you and said, hey man, let's take it home, at least they ended the match. I mean, if he's not injured to the point where, you have to definitely throw it up and just stop it. You know, that's
been,
detrimental to everybody. But it's good that he told you, hey man, let's try to finish this out. I love that.
I've been a part of some scary moments like these. The most terrifying moment I've had in wrestling so far was the Beckley, or not Beckley, it was the Princeton Rec Center. I worked a tables match between Huff Manley and Jeff Paul, and the clip went moderately viral. It was on Nick Gage's page. Jeff got super kicked from the second floor of this venue and went through 2 tables. And man, I've never seen a human body.
I saw that reel. I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
that did look scary.
Yeah, it is one of the scariest things I've ever been a part of. And he was good. He was really sore and really beat up for a couple of days. And he's still, you know, I think that might be part of the reason his hips are all out of whack. He'd be complaining about. But like I said, it was so in that moment, like I didn't know whether to react as a referee or to react as a friend and, you know, check on him, which he, like I said, he was fine. But I've never seen someone bounce like that. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I saw the video and I was like, I was about to reach out and you know, me being a podcaster and not, you know, in the business, some guys take offense to it, but, you know, and I understand, you know, I get it, you know, because when you're talking about their career and their livelihoods and that, and if they're injured, they don't want to talk to you, you know, they're like, you're just going to put me on and say things about me and ask me, you know, I understand that perfectly, but you did mention Mr. the Rampage Den. So you kind of cued me for this one. I'm going to show everybody, because even though I have a podcast, I love promoting other podcasts, and he's coming through with a new podcast called The Wrestling Wing. AJ Frost gave him an idea, so go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be coming soon. Go on Nick May's Rampage Den page, and it'll tell you the exact times and locations for this. Go and check it out. Without a doubt, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. So there you go. But so what do you do for hobbies outside of refereeing?
These days, not as much. Before wrestling, I was an avid fisherman, hiker, outdoorsman, because I live in a rural part of southern Virginia.
Okay.
Absolutely beautiful scenery. We've got a mountain ridge on both sides. We're in a complete enclosed bowl of mountains. Some real good trout fishing. Real enjoyable area.
I'm jealous of every guy or gal that I ever do a interview with who is from West Virginia or Virginia, because you're near my boys up there. You're near my favorite team stadium and all that. You've probably seen it a couple of times. But yeah, I'm a huge Redskins fan, and anybody who lives in that area, I'm jealous. I just like, man, I would, you know, I would just one time I'd like to go up there to FedEx Field and watch a Redskins game. But yeah, there's some beautiful country up there. I've been told many times.
That's one of my favorite things about going on these road trips sometimes, is getting out into these small towns in West Virginia, you know, middle of nowhere, 3-hour drive, 2 hours of it is back roads, and you're just in the mountains. It's just so beautiful and it's unique. You know, you don't see it anywhere else.
And if you're any kind of history buff, there's a ton of history in those back roads, those small towns, and man, just stop in and talk to a few, you know, go find a local coffee shop or a local, you know, even a gas station. Just pull in to get gas and talk a few minutes, you know, they love that. Some small towns are kind of, you know, you're an outsider, just get your gas and go on, but a lot of them will, you know, yeah, man, we've been around since this many years, and I can remember when you get all the story, and that's what I love to do, man. I love to ask questions everywhere I go.
No, I love that too. Those little mom and pop gas stations in those small towns are some of the funnest places to go. Because, like you said, you get such a unique experience.
Right.
Everyone's got character. You know, if they could talk, they'd tell the stories for years.
Right. So let me ask you, you know, a lot of people don't like doing it because, you know, it's just some people don't do it, but I'm going to ask you to do it for me. do some name dropping. Who's some of the most famous wrestlers you've ever been in the ring with?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm regularly in West Virginia out there with Jason Kincaid. Kincaid,
Nice.
Personal opinion, the best wrestler out of the state of West Virginia. The guy's absolutely beyond talented and has done a lot for the business. For me, the coolest, bigger name that I got to be a part of. I grew up an Impact Wrestling fan more than a WWE fan. America's Most Wanted was my favorite tag team, and I got to work a match where Wildcat Chris Harris was managing on the outside, and that was an absolutely awesome experience. I've worked the merch tables of Vicky Guerrero, Nyla Rose. I've been in the ring. Yeah, I've been in the ring with trying to think some good ones. I just worked with AJ Kazana and Bruiser Bob the other weekend, and God, they're good workers, dude. They're really, really talented. And there's
So
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was about to say, there's also a handful of people that I'm probably forgetting right now who I've worked with that have been through Dark or have been on some of the smaller stuff. But right. I have a little big emphasis on go watch your local indie shows because you never know when one of these guys is going to take off.
My big saying is, of course, give me something to invest in down there at the bottom because indie shows. But it's amazing, and I say the same thing because you never know when that diamond, like you said, that diamond in the rough is going to pop up. One of my name drops I get to say is Mr. Hobbs, who's on AEW.
Yep, Will Hobbs.
Will Hobbs. I got to interview him probably 3 months before he became popular on AEW.
Awesome.
And I got in just under the belt just before he signed his contract because he came on and just answered everything and it was great. And I still go back and watch it and I'm in awe, not of me, but of him. And I'm like, I got to interview Will Power Hobbs, oh my gosh. So I can imagine what it would be like to be in the ring with some, big names like that. And just, have you ever found yourself in a locker room and being kind of in awe, being a fan before a ref?
There's a few moments still where I get really tongue-tied and starstruck. I met Brian Pillman Jr. a few weeks ago. Ari was working one of our shows, and Brian was there. And Brian is an absolutely amazing young man. And when I was still on social media, I did GIFs and highlights and stuff like that. And the Varsity Blondes were one of the main focuses of a lot of my work. So being able to look at Brian and talk to him about, all of the stuff I used to do for him on Twitter and just how wild it was of, I went from tweeting at you to now I'm here. We're sharing a locker room. It's just absolutely insane.
Right. I'm gonna give away my age. I used to watch his dad all the time. So
a lot of what I do when it comes to my wrestling character work is Brian Pillman Sr. and Raven and that kind of unhinged era of wrestling.
Right, without a doubt. I mean, that was some good times for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I grew up, and I'm a sports buff anyway. I like basketball, football, baseball. But wrestling is always my go-to. Because you can get people don't understand. Like I said, if it becomes a lifestyle, when I get angry, I'll watch a wrestling match just to get just watching somebody else beat up somebody else will calm me down. It's just weird. It sounds weird. It sounds psychotic, but it's true.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it that just has that connection where it just, whether I'm happy or I'm sad or I'm angry, I can put wrestling on and it's just peace,
Exactly. I'm glad somebody else says that because I sound like a psycho when I'm saying I'm angry. I want to punch somebody. No, but it's pretty cool, man. Oh, here we go. Madison Gibson said, "Hey."
Shout out Madison, one of our big fans down here. She's always at the shows.
Nice. Now, how did it feel the first time I asked one of the other referees this, and I always love the answers when I ask this to wrestlers or anybody else. The first time you came out for like intermission or something, just to kind of walk around the crowd, take a walk, get some water, like you said. Uh, what did it feel like when that first fan came up to you and started yelling at you because you counted out the good guy, or something like, the you suck thing, but they're face to face with you and not, yelling up at a ring.
It's so weird because like it put a smile on my face because it meant I had done my job. I had gotten the crowd so worked up that they wanted to come to me at intermission and tell me how badly I sucked as a referee.
Right.
Put a smile on my face, and I eat it up every time I get told, this ref sucks. You can't count. I know, guys. I'll get better. I'm working on it.
Do you need my glasses too? All of them do. I do it too,
Yep.
so don't feel bad. I do it too. Madison said, "Oh, wait a minute. It ain't gonna make sense without this one." Madison said, "I love to see you ref at AWIF and at School of Morton."
Yep. Yeah.
So you sounds like you got a few fans that follow you and know who you are. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to have a lot of interactions with a lot of really good people, both in our fan base and in our working community, and I'm grateful for it every day.
Right, without a doubt, man. I love it. Oh man, it's whew. I'm winded. I'm excited. I've been so excited throughout this whole interview. It's been such a great interview. I'm winded, man. I done lost track of what I was doing. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Well, actually, this one's kind of a little bit longer. It's 1:20. But Pro Wrestling Union is going to have a show coming in March, ladies and gentlemen. It's undisputed. Right after this commercial, if you have any comments or questions for Ref Hunter, please give them to me over here in the comment section. Even if you're just here to say hi, just say hi. We want to know you're here on #Truth, and we'll be right back in 1:20. Saturday, March 11th. She's going to have me laughing. This is my daughter, Destiny. She wanted to say hi. Crazy. Oh, let me go ahead and unmute your mic, sir. There you go. Now we can hear you. And yeah, for some reason, usually when I play commercials, it mutes both our mics. And for some reason, this time it didn't mute yours. So I was like, hey, better mute it. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, whoa, I lost him. He disappeared on me. What happened? Oh no, I hope he comes back. I scared him off. I don't know what I did. Oh, but thank you everybody for showing up at #Truth. I'm going to give him a minute to there he goes. Here he comes. Give him a second for everything to adjust. I don't know what happened. He just disappeared. He's coming back in on the screen at the bottom of my screen, but he's not totally connected yet. So there we go. Now we're getting there. Here we go. We're back.
Listen, as per usual, I had to make a mistake as a referee. My bad.
You suck. No, I'm just kidding.
Quick count. I got to finish early. My bad.
Yeah, you good, man. You good. I was talking, and all of a sudden you were gone. I'm like, oh no, what happened? It's all good. But man, so let me ask you, do you have a favorite match that you've refed up until this point? I know you've had a lot of matches, but
Oh man, that is a great question. There was a feud that I was a part of as a referee that I got to ref. That wasn't
okay.
actually storyline involved, but I was the referee for the vast majority of it. It was DD Trash, Ron and Bruce against Circus of Pain, Sean Baker, and James Madsen. And as a fan, at the first show I went to, I watched the Circus of Pain win the PWL tag titles. Well, then I got to be the referee for DD Trash winning the titles off of Circus of Pain, and I got to watch it evolve from being a fan and cheering for him to seeing the feud build to then being in there for the blow off and for the match following it when James turned on Sean. That to me probably my favorite, just because of just all the stuff going into it and surrounding it, and Ron and Bruce being such a big part of my early training with some of the advice they gave me, and me being friends with Sean and James. That match just really stands out to me. Their street fight was absolutely crazy, one of the funnest matches I've ever worked.
And I've had them on and have talked to them, and they spoke about the street match and all that, and that was, man, that was some amazing stuff, boy. I'll tell you.
I'll never forget. One of the things that stands out to me most from that match was Ron had just got hit with something. I don't remember what it was, but he had just got hit by an object. And he was laying there on the ground, and I dropped down on a knee to check on him, make sure he was all right. And he looks up to me and with a straight face goes, "Hey, bud, you got a hole in your teacup." And I had ripped my pants and didn't realize it, and he stuck his finger straight in the hole in my pants in the middle of this match. And I just had to hold it together because I was like, "Rob, dude, what are you doing?"
I love that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Stories like that are awesome. That's so cool. Madison Gibson wants to know, are you going to start wrestling one day?
One day. I just started to get back into fully training again. I had an elbow injury about 6-7 weeks ago. I'm back to as close to 100% as I'm going to get. And I intend, maybe this year, maybe next year, to get in the ring as a competitor instead of just as a referee. Just slowly getting there,
I got you. I mean, like you said at the beginning, man, to have the as many matches as you've been doing as a referee, and to be that close, that to me, it's sort of like training every day when you get in there, and you're doing that. You're watching, others right up close. I mean, it's like having a seminar right in front of you.
Yes, sir. Every single time I'm in there, almost always I learn something new or pick up on something. And a lot of it isn't the stuff you think. It's not the how to do the move or stuff like that. It's more the psychology and more the crowd work and those little things, because that's the stuff that to me matters the most. Because I've seen guys come out and do a million moves and all the flips and all the cool stuff.
A ton of spots, but no storyline. A ton of spots, but they don't tell a story.
Yes, and the crowd just be dead. And then two guys will come out and work a match like it's 1987, where it's a chin lock, arm wringer, and 2-3 bumps tops, and the crowd's going crazy because they told a story and they fed their energy. And that, to me, that's the most crucial thing, is working that crowd and that energy.
And that's what I love as a fan. When two guys get in there and they lock up, it's cool to see a top rope finisher or, a couple of, things off the ropes or whatever. But to me, like you said, get in, grapple, I want to see a grapple. I want to see a couple of tosses. I want to see, how many times can you get their, shoulders to the mat and make the referee work. That's what I say. Make that ref work.
Man,
When,
I've had a number of workers blow me up. I've been in there, about to die, can't breathe, trying to count pins. Colby Max and Talise Starseeker were the first two workers to blow me up in a wrestling ring. We were at the Bluefield Carnival in Bluefield, West Virginia, and those two girls were just so quick and so back and forth. I ripped my pants, got blown up. They tried to kill me.
you're gonna have to get some reinforced pants. That's the second time I
Well,
heard you say you had a problem with your pants.
Dude, I'm not even remotely joking. The first 2 months of refereeing, I was just going to Walmart and getting the $20, store brand pants.
Right.
And I
Right.
probably blew through 4 or 5 pairs of them. And I finally bought a pair of Wranglers. And that first pair of Wranglers lasted 4 months.
There you go. See, you're learning. See, that's called learning.
Look, I was at school Morton on Christmas Day, and I was standing next to a propane heater. And I was like, man, something smells funny. And I looked down, and my pants are melted to my boots.
There you go, man. Oh my gosh, here we go. We got Miss Madison asked if you were going to start wrestling one day, and you said yes. She said, I'm glad and I'm excited. David Laughlin said, watching from Lynchburg, Virginia. Thank you, sir. Without a doubt.
David is an awesome guy. He's one of our BWC family. He's always there to support us at Boogies. He's an awesome guy to be around.
Jamal Anderson said, hi, guys. Madison wants to know, what's your favorite match? What was your favorite match at School of Morton?
That's a really good one. I'd have to say it would either be the Yellow Man Tyler Foshi match we discussed earlier, where I did kind of the Tommy Young spot where I kicked the ropes and I shoved him, or I was part of Draco and Yellow Man winning the tag titles down there, the Pit Bulls. And that one to me holds a really cool spot because Yellow Man lives about 15 minutes down the road from me. And I'm at his house once or twice a week. And that's who I ride with every weekend. And being in there for him winning those tag titles was just so cool. Really enjoyed that moment.
Jamal has a question for you. He said, Rev Hunter, what do you think about The Rock versus Hulk Hogan? I think those guys told a great story with Rock being the heel.
Rock Hogan was one of those generational matchups, man. One of a kind storytelling, something you could never really recreate. Really enjoyed that era. That was kind of, see, I grew up more so like, I'm 26, so I can't say I watched all this crazy stuff in the 90s. But as a little kid, I was a WCW fanatic. Diamond Dallas Page and Sting were my favorite.
NWO.
Yeah, the NWO. I was a Wolfpack kid. When it transitioned and WCW shut down, I actually didn't watch as much wrestling for a long time. And I came back. Can't remember exactly when I started watching again as a kid, but I can remember the most distinct memory I have is the first Impact show on Spike, and they had that AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe triple threat match, and that match just stands out to me still to this day with just how incredible those guys were, and that's what made me an Impact fan. I stayed a loyal Impact Wrestling fan until Hogan and Dixie came in and they took away the 6-sided ring, and I just didn't
that was one of the greatest innovations that
It's
ever came about, and they took it away, and I was like, are you kidding me?
It was the difference maker. It's why a lot of people tuned in, was to see that different ring and that different style, because you had to work differently in it.
Right, exactly. Jamal said, "I'm a wrestler for APW, AWS, CMW. You think you can take? You think you can take?"
I don't know. We'll see. I wrestle like it's 1982. It's a whole lot of simple stuff, so I won't bring you the whooping, but I might out. A lot of simple stuff. I like my style reflects the same type of stuff I watch for the most part these days, at least, because it's really funny. When I first started training, I was a deathmatch kid. I love
Oh man,
and some of the stuff they do down in Tennessee. And once I actually started working, I gained a new respect for the business. And I'd always
right.
always loved the territory stuff. But once I
Right.
really started working, I gained such an appreciation for what some of those guys did back in the 80s
Right.
And earlier.
I miss that kind of wrestling, man. I love the old school, get in, tell a story. I mean, the promos were fun to watch back then. It was just a great time. I'm not saying that today's wrestling isn't as good. You got some guys that are, that are just that you could have put them in the 80s from today, and they would have fit right in. But a lot of and I talk to a lot of people. You should, I mean, over 400 interviews. A lot of people, wrestlers are kind of getting smaller nowadays, and they're doing more athletic things, and it's okay. I mean, I'm not gonna. I like the athleticism. I mean, but I'm a traditional, like you said. Get in there, grapple. A few high flying moves here and there, I'm okay with. But if you go in there and it's just spot after spot after spot, you do your third spot in less than 30 seconds. I'm just like, okay, I see where this is going.
It's like my biggest pet peeve that I hate today is guys will take a finisher train. They'll get hit with 5 moves that somebody at some point used to use as their finish. That was it. That was the end of the match. They'll get hit with those 5 moves. The guy will cover him. He'll kick out, get up, hit the other dude with a spear. 1, 2, 3, go home. And it's like, come on, guys! Like, you just killed everything in that short span.
Do you remember back in the 80s, Jake the Snake? The DDT was a finishing move. Now you hit a DDT on a wrestler, 10 seconds later, it's like they never hit him with it.
Yep, the cutter, the super kick. There's so many moves that were finishes and were so impactful now, just don't have any meaning.
Yep, choke slam. Gosh, we could probably go down the whole list of a bunch of moves that
We were just playing around at Boogie's the other week, and I don't know if you remember, they used to do the stuff where the heel would use the sleeper hold and choke the face out, and then he was the only person that could bring him back to life. You had to give him that little chop on the neck. And we did that at camp the other day. I grabbed one of my buddies in a nerve hold, and he sold and was twitching on the ground. I said, hold up.
The Spock hold, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I came up. I said, hold on, I'm the only one that can save him. I gave him the little chop on the neck. He sat right up, started going around, dude. Yeah.
I love that. Now, that sounds like fun, man. Wow, people are still chiming in. Madison said it's Yellow Man is great, man.
Yellow Man.
Jamal said, what do you think about the potential sale of the WWE?
I don't think it'll change much inside, what we see product wise. I think it'll primarily just change some of the behind the scenes little stuff. I don't think it's going to be this great deal that everybody tried to make it out to be, that they were going to get sold out and everything was going to change. And no, I think it's just going to be more backstage than anything.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the only thing that disappoints me is Stephanie McMahon stepping down as quick as she did when Vince came back. That was that blew my mind. I was like, whoa, something's not right.
It was very surprising that she stepped out like that.
Yeah, Jamal wants to know, do you think it's there's a way, it's just a way for Vince to get back in? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to tell mine and you can tell yours. I like the way Hunter was running things. I mean, I like the way Hunter runs a show. When NXT first was on, the WWE network, Man, that was the best wrestling I've seen in years. The old NXT, and again, I understand change, and you got to go with the new stuff, but man, Gargano versus Ciampa, those 3 matches they put on clinics, man. I go back and I still watch the matches. The women that came out of that wrestling back then, oh my, I mean, a lot of them are still wrestling today. I mean, big names in wrestling, but back then it was great. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Bill Hazelwood. How you doing, Bill? Said Flair beat Harley Race with a crossbody. That's exactly what we're talking about. Crossbodies now are just like, whatever for people. And yeah,
can look throughout the history of wrestling, even
he
simple
said for the
things like
title.
the abdominal stretch. The abdominal stretch at one point was a finish and was a go home spot, and now it's at one point in the 90s, every match had an abdominal stretch, more or less.
Now, Bill Hazelwood being on the show, I have to say something to Bill, and I'm going to ask you a question after I say this. I watched Bill Hazelwood. He was on a podcast. I don't know if it was last week or it wasn't too long ago, and he was talking. He had the host and another gentleman was on the show. Forgive me, I can't remember their names, but they were talking about a new style of wrestling, or not a new style, but an old style of wrestling coming back, real shoot wrestling. I mean, real shoot wrestling. And I went and watched it. He got me so, excited about it. I went and watched a couple of the shows on YouTube. Man, I hope they bring that style of wrestling back. Because, boy, I'll tell you what, it's real wrestling. I mean, it's none of the,
Go ahead. Which promotions were you watching that through?
Bill Hazelwood, if he's still watching, he'll give us the name of it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but
Tim was in here earlier, and Tim's company's Real Shoot Wrestling, and they do a lot of old school stuff mixed with some new school stuff, and they're very good product with some of the stuff that we like that.
Well, I'm talking about in this wrestling. Hannibal TV podcast was the podcast I was on. Go check out that interview on Hannibal TV podcast with Bill Hazelwood on there as a guest. And he talks about, real shoot wrestling. I went over and I watched it because they were talking about, this, they're in there and they're really wrestling, and it's like a combination of like collegiate wrestling and there's no like flips. You can't do any strikes. You literally have to get in there and wrestle and pin the guy for a 3. There's like 3 rounds, 5-minute rounds or something like that. And a tag team match in this one, it's just one guy sitting outside. The 2 inside of it were wrestling. And in order to, you can wrestle for as long as you want, or I think it's 5 minutes or whatever. And if you get tired, you slap the other guy. He comes in. And he wrestles that guy. It's no, real. It's not when you say tag match, it's not teams.
Yeah.
Everybody's a single competitor. It was amazing, action packed. I didn't believe it would be that good. I really didn't. When he first started talking about it, I was like, oh man, this, collegiate wrestling. That is good. No, it was. This guy came in after being tagged in. The other guy got pinned and he got eliminated. And that other guy from the outside came in and he got his back and he came up and he did a chokehold and that guy tapped out in like 15 seconds. And I was just like, I came out of my chair. I was so excited. I was like, oh, that's great. Oh man, this is awesome. And I hope they bring that style of wrestling back. I really do.
A few weeks ago, they had that event out in Japan. I cannot think of who it was hosting it, but it had 3 different rule sets they contested matches under that night. The first rule set was very close to unified MMA rules, and these were legit shoot fights, and I think they had 2 or 3 on the card. And then they had the old UWI or UWFI rules and another set of Japanese rules that are like close to being shoot fights, but still worked. And Barnett worked Shibata over there, dude, and those 2 boys beat the daylights out of each other. Really intense grappling, open palm strikes, focus on stuff like that. 'Cause that's a big thing. I focus on, like,
I think one of the biggest lost arts in today's wrestling is the closed fist, because of the fact everybody wants to throw punches. And, you break the rule book down. We're not supposed to. It's supposed to be open
Right.
hands fights. And the point of the punch was to get heat on a heel, and now you can't get heat with a punch anymore.
Right. Because both heels and babies are punching. Now it doesn't matter. One person punches, and then they just get into a punch match in the middle of the ring. A lot of them, One of the big things is like punch, whoa. The crowd goes, whoa. Then the other one punches and whoa. And I'm sitting here going, that's not fun to watch. Come on, guys.
Ronnie Garvin and his hands of stone gimmick, it wouldn't have been what it was if everybody was throwing punches and, doing stuff like that.
Right.
Same thing with Tully and Tully doing the loaded gloves and stuff. And then they tried to bring that back with Sean Spears, and it couldn't get over because loaded gloves just doesn't work today. It's hard to get guys over with some of the old school, gimmick prop type things.
But if you can do it, tell the story and do it.
Yes.
And, it's still money. It's still money. I mean, I love stuff like that.
I think my favorite gimmick that I've seen somebody get hit with in a match, which I didn't see because I was the referee, was somebody got hit behind my back with a loaded pig one time. It was an inflatable pig that was loaded with some shot. That was a pretty good one.
Now, people can come up with some inventive ways of, ending matches, or if you're in like a bunkhouse brawl or something where it's like a battle royal or something, and you invite weapons in. Oh yeah, I saw a guy get hit over the head and get shattered a ukulele.
Yep.
And it looked like he got knocked out. He literally fell from the top rope right in front of me on the floor. I thought he was knocked unconscious. Seriously. And I was at one match where they had rubber chickens, and they were squeezing. You squeeze them and they make the chicken sound or whatever. And there was like a bunch of them. And they were throwing them in the ring during this, battle royal match. And one guy grabbed the chicken, and the other guy he had just gotten, his head pounded into it. So he had his back turned. He took the chicken and just went and rammed it, where. And the place just went nuts, and they were laughing. And the guy sold for it. He's like, it was great. Stuff like that, for the value, for the laugh value, it's cool. But I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy a good grapple match. I enjoy, real wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
I'm big on. I love a card to have a little bit of variety, because I do love old school, NWA wrestling, but also there are times which I want to see my guys, the Orange Cassidy gimmicks that are out there being goofy. For our area, it'll be Buddy Flowers. Buddy Flowers has one of my favorite gimmicks. Dude's absolutely phenomenal worker. And he's just hilarious every time you go out there with him, man.
I had him on one of my really early episodes. I've been doing this for almost 5 years, and he was on one of my real early episodes. And amazing guy, great guy to talk to, great interview. I mean,
phenomenal.
He is. I mean, totally cool. And he comes out with all like the tie-dye stuff and oh my God, he is a character. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about him. And but man, we have been on for an hour and 15 minutes, bro. I'm 15 minutes over my time limit, but that's okay. Like I said, I love talking. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, and you tell everybody where you're going to be here in the near future before we do that. So I'm going to give you the floor, and you tell people where you're going to be reffing here soon.
Awesome. You guys can catch me this Sunday. I don't know if we'll be airing any of it, but this Sunday I'll be working the CYN NWA seminar and tryouts with EC3 and Ricky Morton at the School of Morton.
I saw the poster for that.
If you're in the area to come out to it, it's going to be a whole lot of very, very good talent there and a lot of good advice. And then next weekend, on the 4th and the 5th, you can catch me on the 4th at Crossroads Mall in Beckley, West Virginia. We'll be doing a very good show. We'll have Hernandez from TNA there. He'll be wrestling Jeff Paul in what is guaranteed to be an awesome match.
Then we'll be in Bluefield at the Green Valley Skating Rink the following day for another PWL show.
Wow.
Very action-packed. Anytime you're in West Virginia, I recommend, if you can catch one of our shows, to come out and catch it.
I'm definitely going to come up there. You got some tag teams up there that are phenomenal. And if I'm correct, Premier Wrestling League, they have they used to wrestle, or maybe they still do. They had a venue, and I might have the wrong place. I might not. You'll tell me. The walls are like painted in graffiti.
They're black, and it's got this green line that runs around it, and there's some graffiti here and there.
Yeah.
It's a skating rink. Out in Bluefield, and it's an awesome place. It's actually one of the funniest stories is Ron Mathis looking at me on my first day of training. And, Ron's got all this experience, and he goes, "Brother, I've never in my life seen somebody getting trained to wrestle while little kids skated around them." So you learn where you can, and I've had that experience a couple of times now.
Right? I mean, you never know what, and that's what's cool about wrestling. You never know what you're going to find. The many characters, the many friendships you make, the people you meet. Like I said, I've been doing this podcast for 5 years, and I've gotten to know 500 plus wrestlers. Some of them really well. Some of them, they'll send me stuff, and I've had them on my podcast many times. I love the wrestling business, man. I love all the friendships I've made in it, and I don't know what I'd do without wrestling anymore. I've quit. I've tried to quit doing this show like probably 8 times. I've retired from doing the show because I get sick and things like that. I have bad health. But I keep coming back, and my wife knows the second I quit doing this, I get depressed. And she's like, "Go back and do it. You want to do it. Just go do it. Stop arguing with me. Go do it." You know what I'm saying? And so
it's an addiction, brother. It really is. I'll have, not often, but I'll have the occasional Saturday where I don't end up going to a show. Most time, like, WrestleCade weekend, if I'm not booked at WrestleCade, there's not really any other shows working. And the Rumble this weekend, we're kind of light on shows.
Right.
So I probably won't go out unless I'm really feeling it tomorrow, because there is a small show down the road, but I'm not booked. I
couldn't go to a WrestleCade or somewhere where a bunch of the older wrestlers are sitting there at tables. I couldn't do it. If I walked in there, I'd scream like a girl, like almost at every table. I'd be like, "Oh my God, that's Ric Flair!" I'd be, I'm telling you.
I'll never forget. The night that I worked with Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose at their merch table, and I got to sit there with Vicky and Nyla and listen to stories. The next table over was Wildfire Tommy Rich and Rick Steiner, and they're very very influential. Like, I love both those guys. And this kid came up to Rick, and this kid can't be even maybe like 12, if that, and was talking to him and asked Rick how much he wanted for the autograph, and Rick told him $25. And this little kid, "Well, I could never pay you that kind of money," and stormed off. And we all looked at each other like, "Oh my God, this kid doesn't realize."
Do you know who this is? I would be asking him, "Do you know who that is?" Tommy Wildfire Rich. I grew up watching Continental Championship Wrestling, and he was part of it for a few years there. And oh my God, only $25. Here, let me get my wallet. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing.
Tommy was a fun one to meet because my grandfather was a transmission mechanic for 40 years, and back in the 80s, he actually put one of Tommy's cars back together for him. He broke down right down the road from the shop.
That is awesome, man.
Tommy, he actually remembered it because it's such a out of the way little transmission shop.
Right.
It's hard not to remember the place. It was a really fun story.
Oh wow! See, I love stories. See, that's what keeps me going in podcasting, is stories like that and stuff. But man, we got to get out of here. Hour 20 minutes. I want to thank everybody for. Right, time to take it home. I've had so much fun, man. I could probably stay on here another 45 minutes with you, but we're starting to lose viewers. So, but man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna do referee week probably next year again, and I'm gonna keep doing it for a few months here. But next year when I get to doing it again, I would love to have you come back and tell some stories. If you're wrestling by then, come on as a wrestler. I would love to have you back either way, sir. It has been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, sir. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor to be on here. I've watched your stuff when I was a fan, and now, I've been part of your podcast. I thank you for all the work you do and all the guys you've interviewed. You do a fantastic job.
Without a doubt, man. So I'm going to end it like this. If you guys are ever up in the West Virginia area, and you see Hunter Hagee as a referee, go up there, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a great time. Premier Wrestling League, Mid-Atlantic. You want to go up there and check them out. My daughter's telling me it's time to go. And that is the hashtag truth. We'll see you guys Monday night, 7 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Without a doubt, man. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Everybody.